What's up, guys? Mikey Underdog in the building. I don't know what happened to my other video, so I'm going to try to make this quick. Kind of had a couple live trades. I went into like super detail. It was like a 40-minute video, so I'm just going to do a quick recap and go over some of the live trades. Go over my big loss today. Green on the day, pretty green. I just want to kind of go over things. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and dive into that KSPN trade that we took on, or that I took, sorry, on 9/13. It was a little late to this, guys. I'm like recording my screens and whatnot, but I just want to show you guys real quick. If I'm gonna pause this really quick, I was having this entry, which is right here, as close as I could to this 13-15 pivot. Okay, this was the trade I wanted it to break down or break above this downtrend break and give us new highs right here. And I'll show you. Did grab like 27,000 shares. I had about 15K left. I was shaving some. Actually, shaved some right here and ended up pulling back and going more. But I have a great example too. I'm gonna pretty much fast forward through this one of how I was kind of just starting to reduce size right here, and I did it when I was pulling back. I like taking gains into strength, because sometimes when you drip sell or you start to exit a trade, if you see that right there, it kind of pulls back more, and at the same time, I'm just kind of protecting myself. I think it was still, a really good trade, and I'm going to fast forward this, okay, to right here. If you see that right there, that 34.43 110 wall, I'm going to pause this real quick, guys. I'm going to go over something. Sometimes we're going to get a big wall on the ask, and if there's not enough buyers to step up, people are going to start selling, and when you sell stuff, you're going to start selling into the bids. People are going to start pulling their bids, and the price is going to drop. Okay, so this actually does make it another attempt. I only have about 5,000 shares now. We're watching this. Tries to go again. I tried to actually buy more, did not get filled. Okay, we're watching this come up. All right, here we go. I want to show you guys this again, okay? I'm going to run just through this one really quick. If you kind of see, this is what scares people. It's coming up. I remember being like almost a 10K seller again. That really gets everyone out of there. Okay, right there, 342. All right. This thing tried to make attempts for new highs. All right. There's a 342 wall that gets put up, and watch what happens. People start bailing. It starts to knife down. All right. I end up just taking all the gains right there. 3.6K. I was up, anywhere between like 4.5, 4.8K. And if you look at this right here, once that happened, we had a nice bear flag into VWAP, and this thing just started breaking down. Gave it all back all in the whole entire day. Had this guy ask me like, hey, what do you look for when there's too much stuff going on? All right, the biggest thing I look for is I want to see a leg. All right, once I see that leg, guys, I kind of just zone out, and I start paying attention. I look left real quick, look for a level to go off of, and I'm looking for this thing to open up. So I'm staying there. I'm watching the tape. I'm watching the level too, and as you can see on this 1 minute, once we started to pop up, this is what got me was when we see this nice igniting volume come through, it doesn't break out and it starts to just hang out right here. Lighter volume push up again. If you see this candle 90K, and now we're having 90, okay, 75. Wasn't the craziest volume play, just The setup was there, the pivot play was there, so I slammed some. But this is kind of a sign right here, like, hey, we're getting 90, 80, 90, 75, and it's not breaking out, okay? And if you saw the walls on the video I just showed you, that now people are going to start selling, dumping, shorts are going to start getting interested. There's not enough bid support, so that was that one, okay? Let's go. Okay, here goes a really great trade on ATXI. Now I wish I had a lot more shares, but we had this. You're gonna see a 1 minute flag starting to form. Um, I had this 41 level right here. I actually shorted this as it came down because it just got super extended. You know, I wish I would have went long on this 41 pivot because other people had the right idea. Hitting that pivot right there, it held up, and what happened is that this thing right here popped up, and it started to form a flag right here. This is when I started to get interested, and I just started slapping all the way up to about 100K. Yeah, had about 100K right there, and really looking for this thing to break out, give us new highs. Okay, now in a penny name like this, I'm making sure I'm looking left. I don't want to see anything like this, so I did start taking some gains on the way up, and had about 70K. I'm just gonna keep kind of going through this a little bit quicker, but I just want to show you guys how, like, I'm taking these trades, I'm selling some profit into some of the strength as it goes, and it's great because sometimes when you sell and it's just the stock is strong and it wants to go, it's going to continue to make new highs. All right. These pennies are kind of hard to gauge because you really got to pay attention to the level 2 right here because there's such a spread. Now, if you guys want, on the active trader ladder, what you guys can do is if you can click the minus button, and it'll kind of tighten it in for you so you can see, the bids and the ask a little bit better on the active trader ladder. Okay, so they have about 30K right there. I'm pretty sure scaled another 10 into that another pop, guys. See, instead of, if you guys saw how the video is like when I'm scaling, when it comes down, it's one of those things where it's like you want to protect yourself, but sometimes as you do that, it pulls back even more. All right. If the stock is super strong, guys, it's just gonna go. Right there, we had a quick pop, ended up taking the rest. 5.2K trade on that. I only had 100,000 shares. I wish I would have traded this a little bit more aggressive, but nonetheless, we got a pretty nice push. Happened pretty quick. That was ATXI. All right, let me go over and see some other trades. I had a nice one that I went over. I think I found it. Okay, SPRC. All right, SPRC. I love these type of patterns. Real quick, pause this. Nice pop up. In fact, let me let me just do this real quick. I want to pull it up on here real quick. Okay, I love these type of patterns, guys, when it's like this pop, it pulls back into open, and then we start to get this leg. All right, again, SPRC, when I see something like this, I'm interested because it just put in a nice leg. I want to buy the dip. I want to find something, a pivot play, something on that. And then I'm looking left and really wanted like 155 out of this. But this was a great example of, something that was pretty heavy on the tape. So I'm going to pull this back over. just so you can kind of see a little more clear here, because I know these recordings are, it's like a recording of a recording, so the graphics are like, okay. Real quick, I want to show you guys what I did to this. Is once this was coming down to that 123, I did take some right there, okay, as it was pulling back, and I ended up having about 40K. I was gonna buy more, but I waited, okay. If you see the bids in the ask right here, this is what type of stock that just had pretty big walls, but it also had pretty big bids. So you can kind of get away with taking size. And looking at this, I look left, I was like 155. If I get 120 ads, 123 to 124. If we can go for new highs, that's about 20 cents. So I was just, gonna play this a little bit aggressive. So as this goes, I want to show you. Here we go. We have a wall right here, right? Watch this. What I do in this situation is that, wait, totally just skipped what I just did right here. Okay, this walls are here. I de-risked. I had about 20,000 shares now. I was waiting for it to pull back more, and ended up getting I think I ended up getting a 125 average again. Yeah, which I did. And I was looking for a real pivot play. It did bounce. I just wasn't fast enough to get it. But since it did pull back to that, I was still going to risk 123. 2 cents off from my average, okay? On this one, 100% wanted a pretty big move out of this. And as you guys can watch this tape, how the ask's pretty thick, all right? Putting on the map too. See how it starts to get sliced up like butter? I'm gonna go ahead and start like taking some profits just in case this doesn't want to come down. Watching these walls right here, start to try to take some. See how whippy it gets? I did not scale any up there. I wanted this thing to break out. All right, so I started to take some profits right around here, locked in about 15K. It's definitely a lot bigger. Someone right here asked me how to define pivots, guys. This is a pivot. Okay, any daily pivot that I went over on KSPN. We're going to go over some more too, but started to scale again right here. Definitely took off a chunk right there. Locking in some still. And, really wanted this more out of this, okay? Got 30K left. I think I locked in. Locked in about 2K right there because this is unrealized. So if I lock this whole thing in, locked in about 4K right there. Guys, I'm scaling into this, or I'm taking gains as this is pushing. I really wanted this to squeeze. So there we go. Lock in another 10. I was up about 5.2K on this. All right. And the walls are heavy. All right, guys. It's continuing just putting out some pretty big walls. All right. Something super important that I want to go over is that if you guys look right here on the daily, look left. All right. Watch the tape right there. I'm even taking more gains. I'll go over that other thing in a quick second. Up 5K still. And I think I got about locked in another 5. See that big wall? Look, and then another big wall. Okay. It does try to attempt to go back up. I only got 10K now. All right. It just got pretty heavy. And I'm going to show you again in a little bit of how this actually did a double bottom off the pivot again. And kind of go over about how many times things tap things and if it's weak or strong in a second. Had about 10K. It was just still heavy. Like I took another 5 off. I was holding 5. Ended up shaving another. Just this one. I'm just gonna like leave this one right here. See the walls? They start to. Yeah, completely missed that BI fizz zone. I was like, no. Right after I took the L on it too, or break even. Still here on this, guys. I really don't have that many shares left. I didn't even sell any the remainder into this. Now, I'm going to pause this real quick because this is a thing. Right, I have 2,500 shares left, and I'm like, oh, I'm just going to want it to go to the moon. You see how I was taking profits with bigger size? I wasn't hesitating, okay? You know, now that I have just 2,500, I have this lotto, and I'm like, you know what? Let me see if I can get more out of this. Let's see if we can squeeze to that 155s now, which I wanted prior, but the tape was getting heavy, so I started just locking in some gains. Okay, if this thing wanted to go, it was gonna go. Okay, I'm gonna press play real quick on this, and so you can see it tried to go, still held some. I think I end up like, I was like, you know what? Let me try to just take 1,000 here. Let me see. Yeah, took another 1,000 right there, and I think I just took the rest off once it came down. Now, mind you, so I made 4.7 on there. I think I was up like 4.2. If I would have held the whole entire thing, I definitely would have made like about 20 cents, about 6K, you know. But still, overall, really good trade. And I'm gonna pause this real quick and show you guys something right here on it. All right, right here was nice. All right, we end up having, you know, a pivot play out of the gates, super momentum type of play, right? And then again, we had this other nice double bottom off this pivot. Now, if this popped up and was just like bouncing on it, bouncing on it, bouncing, the more times it bounces on it, the less likely it's going to be some type of big support. All right, because eventually it's going to test it, and then give out. You know, that's just my opinion on that. So now we have this nice double bottom. Look at the VPA on this right here, and then we end up trading this again for new highs, and it actually broke out right here. Now look left. This is the volume that we had to push it up. Yeah, we had some increasing volume. It did make new highs, made new highs by like 6 cents, which is still nice. And then it gave out. Um, took a big loss there on EOS. And the thing on that one is that I see these flags sometimes and I get trigger happy. All right, that is a thing, and paid the price on it. Did really great today too. It's just sometimes I see a setup and I'm just like, you know, I had like 10,000 quantities. I'm just like rapid fire, and then I'm like, whoa, you know, I had 80K on it. Okay, look left at the daily, guys. Look how SPRC. It's just like anytime it had a great day, it just gave back its gains. You know, popped up, gave back its gains, gave back its gains, gave back its gains. What do you know? Gave back its gains, and then it gapped down the next day. All right, I love trading stocks that are like that have history. Look left, okay? You get a better understanding of, is this stock going to gap up? If something has already gapped up and, you know, the daily candles are not so big, just be ready to like calculate that into your trading. All right. If a stock clearly on the daily does not show it's opening up, then maybe all we're going to get is this quick flag, top of the pole, quick new highs, things like that, okay? An example of this flag that I took, where was it? I'm going to end it on that one too. I think it was this one. Okay, so I kind of missed this, but guys, I just want to show you an example of sometimes, okay, this is Sky T, all right. Unfortunately, I like missed the whole entire thing and then had it on record, but you know, this is an example of, this is kind of for heavy too. I think it's super important to have socials up. All right, that's why sometimes you see like, you know, these other rooms are like, hey, this is this, this is that. Sometimes you're gonna get channel momentum, and you know what? That's nothing wrong with that. I think if be aware of what's going on, like who's on a play, who's not on a play, you know, things like that, right? Saw this Sky T, and it ended up setting a 5-minute flag, and I was waiting for this pullback on it, okay? and I ended up taking 18,000 shares of a stock that was $11. I had like 1163 average, right? This is an example of something that did not just go parabolic like I wanted it to, and this right here is a huge sign of that. And 1163 with 18,000 shares, and they end up getting like 12, a little under some 12s, right? Because I do scale into volume, and then I end up taking the rest off, just about 12 and under 12. You know, ended up locking in like 7.1K, but this all happened like literally from right here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, dip down below 6, about 6 minutes. So 1 5-minute candle, boom, tried to break this upper trend line, and when we're looking for these upper trend line breaks or our first 5-minute candle to make a new high, I want to see it break, pull back, test it, and then rip even more. This tried to break, this pulled back, and did not continue. All right. It did have a good catalyst. So something about Google partnership, blah blah blah. Honestly, I really don't care what the news is, and I thought it was a good catalyst, but watch this, like Sky T. And then I'm gonna go over my loss with you guys on something I'm just a little crazy. All right, had I don't know, right here, Google partnership to create supply of chips and researches and bleed whatever, yada 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 yada. You know, it was buying out Fizz. You know, okay, great news, and look what it does. Okay, now mind you, the 200 on the daily is strong. If we can break above that, instead it got rejected off of it. Okay, it was a played aggressive. You know, did make a little bit on that one, but it's this right here. Once we start testing these downtrends and it doesn't go, guys, it's time to bail. Not in the sense, because I don't want to get, you know, caught with my pants down with pretty big size and then get caught in this and it gave it all back, you know. Got to start flipping the switch more on like, hey, I'm long, but maybe I should flip short, but that's okay. All right. I had one more thing I wanted to show you guys. Oh, okay. USE. Just going to go over this loss, guys. We had a lot of great trades today. Some of them worked, some of them didn't. But, yeah, I didn't look left, okay? I already showed that, gave it back yesterday right here, okay? Pull it back trailer, boom. All right, I had 80,000 shares, like 271, okay? Big sign for me. Once this started to pop, I started to reduce size, okay? But here's the thing. Stock had 9 million for the day, and it probably got another 1.5 million after this, so it probably had 7 million. I just saw this setup, and I got trigger happy. Smacked 80,000 shares, and you know, I took a 6K loss to the face, which is fine. I would have played this flag off this daily pivot any day of the week, and that's what I pretty much did. Pretty much bought it up, and I think that was a sign. That should have been a sign for me right here that I slammed 80,000 shares right here, and it didn't go up that high. All right. When I'm trading with size, sometimes like I definitely do trigger it. Okay, but then there's also a time to understand like, okay, you know, I took this size. I thought it was a great flag. I was looking for new highs right here. Looking for that 285 break. Obviously, this is pretty big right here. So if you can get that 285 break, maybe a squeeze past 3 and maybe a squeeze to the 200s. But, you know, it wasn't a stock that had news. And, you know, when I take these type of L's, like I man up to it. You know, it wasn't like too mad. It was like, all right, I would have played this. This is my edge. I love 5 minute setup at the time too. It was pulling back on lighter volume, and then it just, boom, died. Nice bear flag right here. It's a VWAP, failed. All right, I did bail out of this. I think what happened was that I had size on this, and once I started dumping it, it was just like to exit the trade. There wasn't enough bidders. I may have triggered some algos to start selling to. You know, anyone, you know, who's trading it too was probably like, hey, it's time to get out. So looking back, hindsight, you know, definitely want to make sure that I'm sticking to plays with more volume. That way I can take size, scale in and out like you saw on the